How's it going? One thing that I would say, so it's important when you're creating your reality and you're manifesting your desires to not get caught up with all the gaslighting that happens in the manifestation community and all the guilt shaming that it does, where you're, if you have one negative thought, if you have 1 ounce of negative feeling or emotion, that you're kind of screwed for the next duration until you do things perfectly and you stay perfectly all the time. That is not how reality works. Reality doesn't work by one single thought, one single emotion, because if it did, imagine how chaotic the world will actually be. Probably way worse. You'll experience way worse than you're experiencing now. And the world will be way more chaotic, excuse me, because things would be happening on an instant. As soon as you think something, something's already happening. Now, that does go to say that it does happen somewhat in that way, where you have a consistent thought, a consistent emotion that compounds on itself. So it adds over time. That's why the stories and all the things, the examples, they're all the same. All the different parables, if you will, about the faith of a mustard seed. It's planting it, you're growing it. It's not just for the good things, it's also the same thing for the negative stuff that happens as well. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The meaning you give things. I spoke of meaning in my last video. But where I really want to point to, and this is something that it's been talking with other people this week that I work with, and it's been something that's been coming up, and I wanted to share this with you guys today, is you have to be okay with where things are at right now. Wherever, in whatever stage you are in your life and whatever has manifested, those are things that are in the past, of thoughts that you've had, feelings and emotions that you've had, the meanings you gave those things, the awareness that you had. Those things have already been made manifest, right? There's nothing you can do to change what has already happened. There's nothing you can do to change what's already happened. The only thing you can do to change those events, situations, circumstances, that reflection, that experience that you wish to experience and receive, is by changing your inner thoughts and your inner emotions, and then also, more importantly, the meaning you give those things. And that will shape around you a new experience. But where I say with the gaslighting, or just even the shame blaming in this community, sometimes it is completely unhealthy. And it really ruins people to understanding how to get to this truth and be able to understand that the power is always within them. They just didn't know it. So the power is within you this whole time. You probably just weren't aware of it, but you're coming to this and you're learning and you're hearing various people talk about this on YouTube and various books that you're reading of Neville, probably Dr. Joseph Murphy, and various others. I mean, even the Bible. I think the Bible is one of the best manifestation handbooks there is. And when you come to this distinction or this conclusion of this is how that the reality works, and things have manifested by your thoughts, your excuse me, this is like a gnat. It's such a beautiful day outside, and there's one gnat, but I'm not going to be aware of that. Try not to be. That there's so many different things that have already happened in your life, that they've already manifested. It's already been made manifest. It started here in the mental, came down here to your emotional plane, here where you've got your feeling state, and those things combined comes out of your awareness, your all-seeing eye, if you will. And that was the thing you're projecting out. But you have to understand that if you want that to change, you have to be okay with where things are at now, and not beat yourself up, not shame yourself, or say that you did anything bad, and give this more weight and more power, because this thing's already done. This past has already happened. There's nothing you can do to change that past. That past is going to play out until it reaches the point of that story where you didn't give it any more thought or feeling. You didn't give it any more meaning. You weren't aware of that story anymore because that story within you has changed. So then it has to continue that different way of whatever new story you're giving it. So instead of being so focused on the negative aspects of what has already happened, what has transpired, you have to just let that go. And this is what really the meaning of letting go means, is not walking away from your manifestations, not walking away from your desires or things that you want to have change in your life. It's being able to let go of who you used to be and the way that you thought, the way that you felt emotionally, the meaning you gave those things. You let go of that version of yourself because now you know better. And you take heed of this new version of you moving forward in the new version of you with the power that you are now aware that you have. So now you're aware of your thoughts. Now you're aware of your feelings, and you're aware of how those things work together, and you're aware of the meaning you give things. So now those experiences will start to alter and change. But just like anything else, just how it did it in the past, it's going to take seeds. And some of these seeds will grow exponentially overnight. It's not the get it in 24 hours or get it in 2 hours. I'm not going to. Can things happen? Sure, absolutely. I've seen and experienced things myself that way. But they're not so, if you do this a number of times, get this in 24 hours. I would never tell anybody that. How you can get things instantaneously is the thought and the emotion, but that instantaneous result, if you will, is an internal result. It's the mental faculty and emotional faculties that shape that manifested result, and it becomes made manifest once it starts reflecting you in this 3D reality. But I just get so disappointed. It's probably the best thing I can say. I get so disappointed in seeing these things on YouTube, especially when people are just saying it's your fault things are happening. Okay, there's responsibilities. Yes, there's accountability for things that have happened. But just because you're having one negative thought, that everything falls apart now. And that's why it's just going to keep getting apart. That one bad thought means it's another 30 days. It's like seeing groundhog seeing its shadow. So it's another couple of months of winter or whatever. It's like, that doesn't work with manifestation. That doesn't work like that. And it's just like people use this as like a scare tactic or some kind of, fear mongering, if you will, that it's just so inappropriate. It's so uncalled for, because do I even experience a negative thought, negative emotion? Sure. I had one last night, in fact. And this is what kind of led me, because it was like, maybe it was just on my mind with like I said, working with other people this week and helping them through their things and coaching them along, to having something of an experience of mine that I'm like, man, I really don't like the way that this is. And then the old me tries to come back and say some different things of the old version of myself. But I knew what was happening. And all I said is, look, man, I'm okay with the way things are at. I'm okay because I know I win either way. I know I come out on top. I always do. I'm always winning, and I always get what I want, and then I still win. No matter if I'm losing, I'm still winning. It's like the things that I want always want me, and they always work out in my favor because it's my reality. I can't lose. It's impossible for me to lose. So I'm good. The way that things are right now, I'm good because I know that's the old version. That's the old me. That's the old me. The new me is already winning, so this is going to be reflected to me because this is a new story, the new meaning, the new awareness, the new thoughts, the new emotions that I'm feeding that story or that particular desire and that outcome. It's inevitable. It must come about because I said so. And this is the way that you would have to hold that same feeling, that same response and attitude to when things that are little are even could be extremely unpleasant and uncomfortable. And I understand. I'm not trying to say that ignore it and it doesn't matter. And I understand experiencing things in the human. We're God's living human experiences. So we still feel those things. Of course we do. We still live and function in a 3D reality, but we create and receive in that quantum mechanical field, and where all those things come about. So if you're more focused in giving awareness and we're aware and giving more meaning to the old story and being affected by that, and then beating yourself up, feeling more of that anguish and doubt, that fear of, or even that just emotion of just you're not good enough. Not to the SP stuff, but you're not good enough to manifest. You're not good enough because all this stuff's falling apart and you're not good enough. Just because someone on YouTube said you're not good enough, because you're having one negative thought and there you go, you screwed up, you're not perfect. You must be perfect. Your report card must be undoubtedly perfect with all check marks and stickers and of the manifestation people on YouTube in order to get your desires. So you already screwed up. It's none of that. All that's just BS. You're gonna have your experiences. You're going to have things that are contradictory, because all you got to use that as an indication is that it's going to be use that as a beacon of where you're at, as a GPS, if you will, of if something is still coming up and what's the immediate thought that you give it? What's the immediate emotion that you feel? The one thing that I'll tell you, this is kind of cool. I told somebody this, one of my students, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we were going through their thing. I had to take a sip of coffee. It's so good. Yes, I drink coffee in late evenings or in the afternoons. I love coffee. To where, how do you know your feeling and your thought are aligned, right? Now, this could be a whole separate video, which I'll probably make later, but being that I just brought it up, I'm just going to tell you. The way that I find out is that if it's aligned is if there's a little burning feeling when I say an affirmation or when I think a certain thought or feeling, especially if I'm trying to change the narrative into the new version of myself versus the old version of, or the experience I don't want to experience anymore. Does that burning feeling go away when I have that thought or when I have that feeling? Does that burning in my chest and like right over my heart, does that go away? And if it does, and I can say these things confidently, then I know it's now internalized as a full belief, a full feeling of really feeling and embodying what I'm saying. Now, if there's no kind of the doubting thoughts when you're saying something, and so your mind is clear, but you still have that little burning sensation there's a disconnect between your thought and your feelings. So that's a cool little way if you want to gauge it. And I can go into a whole different way of how to test this out in another video, which I'll probably do. But I really wanted to keep this video about not beating yourself up especially when you're trying to change your circumstances and the old things that have manifested have already been made manifest. There's nothing you can do to change what is already made manifest, because all it is just producing what you've given it. So if you have one negative thought, if you have one negative feeling, it's not going to ruin it. Even if you have a small, which I like to call like a little pity party, where you give yourself 15 minutes, you're just angry. Of course, you're just human. If you give yourself 10, 15 minutes, you're going to get angry. Okay, fine, get angry, but then snap out of it. Snap out of it. I'll give myself not 15 minutes, but I'll give myself about 5 minutes. If I'm really angry, or if I'm feeling something that really hurt me, whether it makes me tear up or cry, or just really angry where I scream in a pillow, or you start cursing at the air or whatever. We all been there, right? I'll allow myself 5 minutes to feel that emotion, let it come through me as a wave, but those emotions do not overtake me further than that. They do not consume me. They do not have the power over me. They do not have the authority over me. I alone have that authority. And you alone have that authority. So you have to keep those things in mind when this happens to you, when you're experiencing these things. Don't beat yourself up about one negative thought, one negative emotion. It's not going to mean another 5 years of just the same old crap that you've been experiencing. That doesn't mean that at all. And if you have something that you still got to function in 3D reality. So if something shows up and you're feeling the weight and the pressure, or something that just hurts you that you're wanting to change, it's okay to feel that emotion for a brief moment in time, but understand that that doesn't define you. That's something that's already played out, that's already made manifest. It's already lost its power because it's already done. It already happened. And I'm creating a new, and I'm going to add the new story, the new film, if you will, to where this thing already ends and to where it starts to begin anew. But it all starts with you, your thoughts and your emotions, and the meaning you give those things, but not to beat yourself up. And try to use these things as indications, as like, think of them as like a dashboard. You're driving and you have a check engine light, or you have like your tire pressure's low, or you need coolant, put coolant fluid in your car. Any of the, or like if you're doing that lane assist and it's telling you, hey, you're drifting off in this lane, get back in the center of the lane. That's all. Use it like that. Don't let it overtake you. Use it as signals to see, okay, hey, I'm still reacting negatively, or I'm still feeling this in this way. Why is that? And then just talk yourself through it. Bring yourself back to center, back to self, understanding you are the source of everything, and everything is coming from you. Even all the good that has happened in your life and all the bad that has happened in your life that's already been made manifest has all come from you. So remember that if anything you want new to experience is all going to come from you anyway. So which story, which meaning, which feelings and thoughts do you give it? Right? So yeah, be careful on the meaning you give those things, and don't beat yourself up. It's fun. It's a game. Treat it as such. And where you always have the cheat code, literally, because you are the living and breathing cheat code to this whole thing we call life. All right. Peace and love. I'll see you on the next one.